Welcome to Spin Justice with me, Hayley Owens, the podcast where I'll be talking about anything from health and fitness to the injustices of the world and everything in between. I've worked within the criminal justice system for over 20 years and have more recently taken to teaching indoor cycling, otherwise known as spin. Each week I'll be talking to a different guest about a topic that's personal to them, whether it be to raise awareness or just because. Most episodes will contain strong language because of who I am as a person, so if that's not for you, then probably best to swerve. Any opinions expressed by me are my own. Today's episode is sponsored by DNA Boxing School of Excellence. Big up to Danger and the team there for all the amazing things they're doing in the community, whether it be kids classes or one-to-one boxing training. So if you or anyone you know are interested in improving their fitness, because why wouldn't you, make sure you give them a shout. Today's episode is sponsored by Southpaw Building and Property Services. Shout out to Julian and the lads who are covering all types of building work, whether it's extensions, drives, landscaping and new builds, covering a 30-mile radius of Birmingham and local districts. Hello and welcome to Farmer Joe. That's the nickname I've given you now,
yeah,
by the way.
I've had it from a few places.
Oh, that's all right then.
Yeah, my brother, obviously, Uncle Farmer Joe. And,
Is that what they call you?
Sometimes people call me loads of different things, really.
Yeah.
Some not so complimentary, but...
Yeah. So you work on a farm, which is why I'm calling you Farmer Joe.
Yeah.
We've got, so your brother is a friend of mine. And Laura. So Laura, that's been, for anyone else that's up to date, episode 3, Carl, episode 3, was it? Mm-hmm. Mental health episode. Laura is your sister-in-law.
Yes.
So, and you and your friend...
Elson.
Yeah. Shout out Elson.
Fat man.
You have got the Two Cocks podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been doing that for about a year now, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're a year. We had our anniversary a few weeks back.
Yeah.
Sounds a bit gay, doesn't it? We had our anniversary, but yeah, no, we've done, 50 odd episodes? No, not quite 50. But yeah, we do like an episode a week, and it's very different to the professional level of this. And some of your podcasts have been quite deep and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's really laid back, but it's like fair play. It's professional and like can be serious as well. I don't know.
Yeah.
We haven't really dived into anything that's particularly,
I particularly liked the one of yours about conspiracy theories.
Oh yeah,
I love that one.
Yeah.
So I listened to that when I was in Ibiza on the beach, like on my little solo trip.
Tinfoil hat on.
Yeah. I was literally like, and it was the Madeleine McCann bit really like, because I think that was the title of the episode about the conspiracy theory. And I was like, oh, I'm going to listen to that. Listen to it on the beach. So yeah, for anyone that hasn't listened to the Two Cocks podcast.
Yeah, go and have a listen.
Spotify. So you record yours in the pub, don't you?
Yeah, well, try to, as many different pubs. The idea is that we go around as many sort of different pubs. We obviously revisit things because logistics.
Yeah.
Me and him don't live. We live about an hour away from each other, so and I work every other weekend. Struggle to get time off in certain seasons as well. So we try and go around as many pubs as we can. Review the pub, the beer, the food if we can. Like eat in there if they serve food. But generally, it's just like like you would to go to a pub, have a chat, chit chat. We have themes: cockhead of the week, top cock of the week, and our masturbate. Yeah. So then that's kind of the preface of it, but it just ends up going on. Neither of us are great at sticking to schedule, so we just end up going off on rants and stuff. Elson's got ADHD, and I'm sure I've got some issues somewhere, so I can get distracted and just start talking about random shit.
Yeah, same here.
And it's a fair bit of dark humour, so if you don't really like dark humour, maybe don't listen to it, actually, to be fair. I'm not trying to put off listeners, but it's not awful, but it's, and then, but it's just like trying to, improve not just men's mental health, but mental health in general. I think there's a lot to be said about going to pubs. Yeah. Like, your episode with Ginger from Shard End touching on the community. He said he's not a big drinker anymore, but that community thing is huge. Yeah. And if you have a good local, it's massive. And it's great for your mental health. You just go, even if you finish work, go in for one pint. Yeah. I don't think anyone goes for one pint, but a couple of pints. Yeah. And go and talk about your problems. You go and talk about that if you've got a wife at home or something, and then you go home. You're not taking any issues from work home.
Yeah.
Which, you don't want that. your wife doesn't deserve that, or anything like that. You don't want to go home and moan to her, go and moan to your mate or something. That can,
and then they can moan to you.
Yeah, it's good. It's good community. It's just so that's trying to get people, and pubs are struggling, so trying to get people back into pubs and stuff again.
They're shutting down all round by me.
I think the government's shit because I think after COVID they did the Eat Out to Help thing.
Yeah.
I think that was the perfect time to improve pubs because you should just take the tax off of alcohol served in pubs and put it on supermarkets. I think it would have a positive effect on alcohol consumption as opposed to a negative, because I think the most irresponsible drinking or is usually done at home or something, getting absolutely smashed like at home. And generally, if you're at a pub, if you're drinking a little bit too much, someone usually call you out on it. Is everything okay? Or, I think it's going a bit, you need to get some help or whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're at home, no one's telling you that. You're just drinking a bottle of after vodka a night sort of thing,
Yeah,
I generally think it's, that's the way.
I love a good boozer. I really do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know you're not drinking at the moment, but it's just, there's so many good options as well for non-alcohol. Elson doesn't actually drink, weirdly, that we do a podcast in the pub. He drinks a lot of coffee when we go to the pub, and he might have a couple, and then non-alcoholic beer, but whereas I'm sort of trying to sample the bar, so we record multiple episodes at a time.
So the question I wanted to ask you is, have you ever got that pissed whilst recording that when you've listened to it back, you've not remembered saying something?
All the time. Like, all the fucking time. There's been a couple, so my dad listens, and he's picked up that he won't listen to the last one recorded in a pub now because he gets too loose. And he's like, fuck's sake, Joe. He's just like, it's better off I just don't hear it. Because it's like, there's been times, like, I think even early days, I think it was we had Neil on. Yeah. Like the third episode. So if it's like our sound quality in the early days where we were using different equipment, it's fucking shocking. But it's come on a lot since then. But even in the early days, you can hear like noise and we're getting so bad. There was one episode, I think it was we did 4 episodes in one day. And the third episode, we had an ex-Marine on, and we called Tom Coombs, and he's great lad, great podcast. We had to cut a lot out of that one that we've sort of got saved if we ever do a paywall, because he said we could release stuff, but it had to be behind a paywall, because there was a couple of stories that were quite like fucking hilarious, but dicey. He wouldn't. Yeah, you got didn't want it on, so we cut a bits out of that, and then by the 4th one, I'd completed the bar, so I was on 10 pints at the start of the podcast. Jesus Christ! And it was loose. There was some quite dark Stephen Hawking jokes, and I even did an impression. Oh my God! Sliding around in a chair. So I think we had to cut a fair bit out. Or Elson does all of our editing. Yeah, and he had to cut. So the drunker I get, the more work he does. So oh my! And he don't drink. No, brilliant. I know. Just going back to the non-alcoholic beers. Tried one in the week. Didn't like it. Which one did you? I tried the Corona. No, I'm not a fan. Guinness. Do you like Guinness at all? I do like Guinness. The Guinness Zero is the best one, I think. So it's the closest. Right. Okay. So a friend of mine, Damien, does listen to this, so you'll know that I'm talking about you, Damien. He has sent me some screenshots of zero alcohol, and he said the Guinness. He actually did recommend the Corona. It wasn't to my taste. No. So I bought 4 bottles. I took 1 swig out of 1 bottle and chucked it. Really? Yeah. I'm like that Thatcher's Zero. I love my cider, West Country boy, but I can't. It's just like, it's a shit appetizer. Right, okay, so I'm going to go for the Guinness then. Yeah, Heineken Zero is all right. Okay, Heineken Zero. The Brewdog. Oh, yeah. Brewdog AF, like alcohol free, I just call them Brewdog as fuck. Yeah, like that's what I was just thinking when you said that. You get a box, and they do it like a mixed box, and they're really good. Are they? Yeah, they're good. Have they got like a bit? See, I find with like the Brewdog ones, they've got like a bit of a tang to them. Fruit, yeah. So if you don't like that, you won't like them. Nah, don't like that. And there's some really good German ones. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna butcher this. Erdinger.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, they do a really good non-alcoholic one.
Yeah,
and it's
okay.
got. I used to have it after if I was driving on the way back from Six Aside when I used to play Six Aside, because on the back it says we've added electrolytes. So I'm like, fucking hell, I'm having a Lucozade here, being healthy.
Yeah.
Obviously I'm not, because I was not down. I've got a fucking beer gut and a half, but.
Yeah, right. I've got some options now. Then the Guinness wasn't always going to be next on the list anyway. I've been doing well. I think I've just been that busy. I've not thought about it.
Yeah.
But I'm into like 30-something days now. So
fucking hell.
I know. Yeah.
Fair play.
Yeah.
I mean, I've stopped. I say I've stopped drinking in a week. I haven't, but I have in a way. Like I'm not religious with it. So if we go if I'm I cooked a chicken chasseur the other day, which is obviously white wine.
Yeah.
So I obviously had a glass of wine. It's not like I'm not drink, but I've just cut down. So because I'm trying to do this run.
Oh yeah, we'll come on to that actually.
Yeah.
Right, this episode's going to go out on Valentine's Day, so we're going to have a little bit of a love chat.
Yeah.
Just for the Valentine's Day theme. Straight up, what's your views?
I don't celebrate Valentine's Day.
You don't?
No, can't stand it. Same as Halloween, although I probably prefer that. Don't like fireworks night. This makes you sound like a proper miserable prick, but yeah, I don't know fireworks night. Never really been into Valentine's Day, but I did. Me and my missus did get together on the 13th.
Right.
So annoyingly, it's kind of all right around that side. So if we go out for a meal, it's like around that time. It's always around Valentine's, so it looks like we're celebrating anyway. So it's like she's not missing out.
But what does your wife think about Valentine's Day? Is she a celebrator?
She's not asked.
Okay.
I think maybe it's just because I've worn her down because I've been with her for so many years, and I don't buy flowers and stuff. It's not like I don't. It makes me sound like a horrible husband, but I don't. I just I don't. They just die. I'm not buying stuff or cook her things or take her out and do. We always do nice stuff, but we have a wicked relationship. But I don't have any aspirations to celebrate Valentine's. So I just think it's a weird thing for me. I think if you treat someone right all year round and just surprise them with something every now and again, rather than you shouldn't have to celebrate on one day. It almost puts pressure on the one day and everyone's doing it, so it's not really special.
Yeah, I agree, and I think, I agree with that. I agree with treating someone right all year round and surprising them all year round, both ways, by the way. Not just from husband to the wife, but the other way. But I don't know what it is, and I do not know what it is because I am so not bothered about so much stuff. But when it comes to Valentine's, if I was in a relationship, or even if I wasn't in a relationship, I'd be buzzing if I got something on Valentine's Day. Yeah. Is that I don't know what it is. Let me put my cup down.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Have you always been like that since a little girl?
Well, I can't really remember way back then, but I remember getting a card in the post to my parents' house when I lived at home. That off a mystery person.
Yeah.
And I was chuffed.
I mean, to be fair, I would be.
Yeah.
It's just like getting appreciation, isn't it? It's and people freak out about that. You think, oh no, you've got a wife, you shouldn't. Fuck off. I'd love some wolf whistle at me and the same I would be with if someone wolf whistled at her when I wouldn't get aggressive. As long as I didn't make a move, I'd be like, yeah, great, I am punching.
Yeah.
Not her. Punching above her weight.
Yeah.
I'll just take it as a compliment.
Yeah, I am a Valentine's fan. I am. And you know what? I'm lucky to have really good friends around me because I'm probably there's a couple of single girls in the group. But the majority of my friends are married or in relationships, and they think of me on Valentine's. So
did they get you something?
Yeah.
Did they actually?
That's
nice.
My friends, Neil and Martin, they send me flowers.
Right.
Not every year, but they do think of me, and they would send me roses in the post, and it's just like you say, an appreciation. Sweet, yeah. We're good friends, or little heart chocolates in a card. Do you know what I mean? But I do the same for my friends. Say off my kids. My friend Hayley, she's single. She's godmother to my kids.
Yeah.
I I mean, they're getting older now, like, but when they were younger, I'd get her a card and put like heart-shaped chocolates in there for her. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just
nice.
as an appreciation, because you're probably not getting anything if you're single. Same as, and do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so like, I'm a bit of a fan, a bit of a
hopeless romantic.
Yes, that's exactly it. And I think like I have still got a heart somewhere in there.
I don't. Just because you're single doesn't mean you don't have a heart.
No, I'm just very
you spend
much.
it on kids and.
Yeah, it's not that. It's just because I've got this boss bitch persona most of the time. I feel like I'm switched off to my emotions sometimes, but I do think deep under there, I do still love romance. I've talked about it on previous episodes. I am still a big believer in it.
And you'd find it if something came along anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a massive believer in that.
Yeah.
Like, as I think we were talking before, like, it's...
What's meant for you won't pass you by.
No. I definitely didn't intend on meeting my wife.
Yeah.
Like, we met because it was snowing, because I was supposed to be meeting another girl and the train was cancelled.
Does she know that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's like an open joke.
Okay.
And in the snow, and I went out with Matty, one of my friends, and we met his missus for a coffee, who was Ellie's friend. Ironically, a lot of our friends were going out with each other.
Yeah.
None of them are now, apart from me and Ellie, which is funny because we didn't even, need to meet. And I always say, people say, "Oh, what do you think attracted you to her?" I just, my massive cock, because it was snowing and there was a bowling green, and I was laughing. I went on a bowling green, like a full massive 40-foot cock in the snow on the bowling green. So I have that in my locker. I can, that's how we met.
Brilliant.
But yeah, and then we sort of, I just, to be quite honest, didn't see it going past like that day.
Yeah.
And then
went
out the following night, and then so, and like I said, it was not intentional. Now we're married and we've got a kid on the way, so it's just, I mean, we've had our up and down. Thank you. We've had our ups and downs and stuff, like everyone does, and we've had the break at a point as well, and but it just and it wasn't forced to come back around either. It just came back around, and we've been together and an awesome marriage, and people might be a little bit unconventional and weird, but that's part of the fun. Like, we're never ever bored.
Yeah.
Ever.
Which is great.
Yeah.
I think that's I would aspire to, if I was to ever get in a relationship again, and I know you say that you weren't looking to get into a relationship and it just happened, and I get that, but I almost, I'm going to say this now, but I'm going to regret saying this. I'm almost against it. Like, I don't know why.
Against
meeting someone.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but I just kind of feel like, nope. No. Like, Carl says to me, we've got too much to do. It's like, no men, like, just focus.
Someone watching this now is going to be like, just fucking delete that message then.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Oh, if they've watched any of the previous episodes, they'll stay out in DMs.
Maybe not.
Yeah, well, so funny, because I had a message last night. I do get messages regularly on the Instagram, and I had a message last night, and it basically started off with, "Hi Hayley, really loving the podcasts, not a perv." And I just replied saying, "Nice to hear from you. Thanks for clarifying that you're not a perv." And it was
but also, that's what a pervert would say.
Yes, but it was a real, like, meaningful conversation in the end that will go on to probably a guest coming on and future contacts, which is what it's all about. But first line was not a perv.
Yeah. In fairness, it's bad, but you do almost have to say it now.
Yeah.
Like, I almost prefer going out for drinks and shit now, like, because. But I don't wear I got my wedding ring around my neck because I don't like rings. It's not great for work.
Yeah.
But if you say you're married, all of a sudden you can actually have a conversation with people.
Oh yeah.
It's so much easier.
The pressure's off.
Yeah, because they're not thinking they're going to hit on you. I still maintain great night out, gay bars.
Oh, amazing night out in a gay bar.
So positive.
Love a gay bar.
So they're always a good laugh. Last time I was in one, I ended up giving up relationship advice to these two guys who were sat there having a little hissy fit together. It was quite funny.
Yeah, I remember. I spoke
not that
to
I'm
you.
any good at that.
Yeah, I spoke to you, I think, round about then, and you said that you'd been out and you'd been to a gay bar. I was like, oh, amazing night out.
That's so funny, especially when you get. I love a drag show, and a gay bar. They're hilarious.
Yeah,
I've never watched. What's the Drag Race? Is it?
Oh yeah.
I've never watched that.
RuPaul.
I can't stand any reality TV, but
Yeah.
See them in a club and stuff. And I love the names. Love a pun.
Oh, have you got one? If you were
if I was a drag queen?
Go on. If you was a drag queen, what would you call yourself?
Oh, I wouldn't have a clue, to be honest. Something it's actually because it's got to be a name still, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like
Penetration.
That's a great. That's a great one. Penetration. Oh mate, that's amazing. Oh, what was
Carl's laughing.
I'm trying to.
Brilliant. You're going to rack your brains now.
Oh no, I'm trying to think of something cow related because that would be, you know, like I suppose a common cow name is Daisy, so I'm trying to think of something like Daisy Dix or something like that.
Yeah, brilliant. Oh, great.
Oh, that's
right. We're going completely off topic now.
I know.
How did you get into farming?
Oh, a long time ago, but I suppose I found some pictures the other day, or someone did, I think Mum did, and there's pictures of me when I was about 3, because we used to go on holidays to countryside and stuff like that when I was a kid. Never ever went like abroad. I think we went abroad once to Switzerland, but like generally never went abroad. It was always Wales or Yorkshire or Devon or whatever. And there's ones where we used to stay on farms, and there's picture of me in a tractor and stuff then, and I always, like, my day outs wouldn't be like, I don't know if there's many soft plays around then, to be fair. I don't know if that was a thing. Do you remember soft?
I don't remember that really.
No, I don't. No. So it was like farming days out and stuff. So you go into like Court Farm was a belter, Noah's Ark, and just I was just fascinated with it. And then we go to a place called Big Sheep, which is actually very near where I live now.
I know where that.
Yeah, and it used to go. Of course, you go down to Devon a fair bit, and so that they used to milk sheep there. So I just I was fascinated by the whole lot, and I loved it.
Yeah,
driving the tractors, everything.
Yeah.
And various things throughout my childhood, just sort of thing. But I never thought, oh, this is a job, because you're a kid, you don't.
No.
I just thought that's awesome. Why can't I have a farm? And then I was always planning, when I got a bit older, started planning out. If I were to have a 5-acre smallholding, how would I like manage it, like, and create everything? Like, what would I have? What breeds? What plants? What everything? How I would rotation? How much everything would cost? How much I'd need?
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Like, really nerdy. And then I'd have it went into school in like. Like, was it year 10 you do your
work experience?
Yeah, work experience.
Yeah.
So a friend of the family managed to get me a week on like a local farm.
Yeah.
Fair size sort of unit, just up by Bristol Airport. So I applied there, did the week, and like every day coming home, top to tail in shit. And I fucking loved it.
Really?
It was amazing. And sort of shortly after that, a friend of the family she managed to get me, the same company that owned that farm, managed to get me like a day work experience on this again. And at the end of the day, I worked my ass off. And at the end of the day, he said, "Oh, do you want any more work? Would you like to come back and start doing milkings and we'll pay you?" And I think it was like £20 a milking or something like that. I was buzzing because there was like 20, probably cost me mum and dad like £5 in fuel to get me there and back. And but then I started doing that, and then as I got a bit older. So then, like, sort of, I suppose that sort of went, oh, I can actually do this. I realised you can do it as a career. Yeah. Because none of the people that worked on the farm were from like, well, not necessarily from farm backgrounds, but weren't farmers, like weren't born into it. Yeah. So I decided, right, well, I'm going to do this now. So GCSEs can, I'll get enough that I need to get what I need to get into college. I want 5 ATCs. So I was a bit of a pain in the ass. Like, I wasn't a bad kid at school or anything, like, but I had some fun, and everyone's like, "Oh, you need to get A's and A stars." I'm, no, I don't. I need 5 C's, and no one's going to ask me what I do after I get this qualification. And to be fair, like you were speaking on a previous episode, someone asking a 40-year-old man what they got in GCSE is fucking mental. Yeah, embarrassing. Like, it just wouldn't happen. Yeah. So from that, I sort of went to college for 2 years, worked for weekends on the farm when I came back. Yeah. So I went to college in Wiltshire, Lackham. and it was a really good college then.
An agricultural college,
agricultural college. So they did other things as well. So like they had a sports one there as well.
Oh yeah.
Which was, so like you'd have like a fair few like disagrees with like the sport lot and that, but it was a great thing because I lived in as well. So it was kind of like, I was 16 to 18 there, and it was like, because I lived in and it was quite loose, and that we were just down the road from a village, so like it was pubs and stuff you can sort of go in and that, and we had the bar. It was kind of like doing uni, but between 16 and 18. It was so good. So I got that sort of out of my system before everyone started going to uni.
Yes.
And then I was back at home, living at home. And then mum and dad broke up, but me and dad, basically, I lived with my dad in like the family home for a while. And we ended up, so I was sort of paying a mortgage I think I was on £5.60 an hour.
Bloody hell.
It's mad, but everyone moans about it now. I find it wild. The prices. I get the cost of living's going up, but if you keep putting the minimum wage up, well it's just going to drive prices up. So
yeah,
that's inflation for you. But anyway, so I ended up farming that job full time after I left college, and had some awesome times. We had a great group. We used to go out like in the evenings, get absolutely smashed, go to work straight from like going out the next morning because you get in at 5, go straight to work, and then go have breakfast, go to sleep, and go out and do it all again. It was a class.
Yeah.
And that sort of, I just fell in love with farming from there. I went to college with an open mind. Do I do dairy? Do I do beef? Do I do sheep or whatever? Because I'd only worked on this dairy farm.
Yeah.
And I was just, there's never going to be anything other than dairy, really. And then I've looked at it briefly in other ways of how can I get into owning my own stuff. And that's the only way I've looked at beef and sheep, because it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to do, is probably wrong, but it's less workload and cheaper to get into, particularly sheep, and easier to grow. But I just can't get away from dairy. So I've been sort of around so many different systems of farming, but all dairy.
All dairy.
I've done bits with sheep and beef and stuff as well, but a fair bit of beef, but mostly dairy. And I just couldn't
Might need
see
to edit
myself
that bit.
do anything else.
Bits with sheep.
Oh, fuck off. I'm not Welsh.
So tell me your day-to-day routine, because you just talked about then getting in at 5 and doing and going to work. So what time do you get up then?
So it varies farm to farm. It's been different, and throughout the year, generally speaking. So for example, I worked at a big intensive unit near Glastonbury. Intensive means in farming means like a lot of, say, not necessarily a lot of cows, but big cows producing a lot of milk, fed high, like an expensive diet to produce a lot of litres. So the margin's quite tight between like the cost of production and stuff, but you produce it on such a large scale. So I think we were producing, and it was 1,000 cows and milk 3 times a day.
How many people are doing this?
So I started and there was 600, and I was number 2, and I worked up to eventually managing that place after 3 or 4 years, I think it was. And I had 16 staff. Yeah. And I was 24 at this point.
So 1,000 cows, 16 staff, milked 3 times a day by those staff.
Combination of Polish and Romanian and English. Yeah. So I learned a fair bit of Polish, to be fair. And it was a massive challenge, and realised I'm shit at people management. Could do the farm side easy. Yeah. And even like managing, I love teaching people. But fucking managing relationships is hard as fuck. Yeah. And it's not for me, and I don't like being the bad guy either. So I'm not good at that. But yeah, so I sort of, that sort of intensive unit, I'm getting up at 3:45. Well, I know I'm getting into work for 3:45, sorry, because the milkings are at 4, 12 and 8. So you have different shifts. Okay. So people do like a 1 and a 2, first milking, second milking, or second milking, third milking, and the worst one is third milking and first milking. Yeah. So we tried to like eliminate that as much as we could, because no one liked doing it, because you have to treat it like a proper night shift sort of thing almost. Stay awake and then sleep in the day. So it's like it screws you over a bit, but that's not. I went to that system because it's amazing for learning on. Everyone thinks it's, cows must be really, badly looked after. Yeah, they don't go out to grass, so they're in all year round. So it's not how I would personally, if I were to start a farm, and it's not what I believe in really.
Yeah.
I believe in a grass-based system, get as much as you can like the cow from grass. But it's they're not the health traits, like there's like KPIs you can monitor, and they've got to be so good to make a profit, because the margins in dairy is so small,
right?
Especially on that sort of system. And if the cows aren't happy and healthy, they'll either die or because I describe them as Formula One cars,
right?
And the cows that I farm now, more like rally cars. They'll just go for anything, and they'll walk for miles. They're just easy maintaining. They don't produce loads, but they're just happy, healthy. The sort of cows that what everyone sort of pictures as a lovely like dairy farm. Like genuinely, that is exactly what it's like. They're out on the hills grazing. And in the winter, when it's cold and shit, they're in the shed for a couple of months when it's cold and when they're for a dry period. But the intensive side of it, it's unhappy and unhealthy cows do not make profit, which is why it's kind of a bit of a. It's not how I get why people wouldn't want their milk coming from somewhere like that, but they're not treated badly. They are like treated so like royalty, like that you always put your cows first, generally, because
I love that.
which is a lot of farmers do, which is why generally it's quite a hard industry to work in, maintain sort of positive physical and mental health, because you just obviously you run flat out. So like a full-time job, so what would you say a full-time job is? I know you've got loads of different things, so it's wild, but like a normal person, it's what, 38 hours?
It's 37 and a half hours a week,
So
should be.
That's part-time for a dairy farmer by easy. Like, so a typical dairy farmer, generally about 55 hours a week.
Okay.
So
you're up at 3:45.
But depend on certain seasons. So say up at 4:45 on that farm, and then, I mean, you'd finish about 5 p.m. Yeah.
So what time are you sitting down at night?
You'd have a break in a day.
Yeah.
But for example, like now, on the sort of more common like grass-based or spring or autumn block calving. So that means all your cows are calving in a spring block. So from February to March and a little bit into April. So, and then your breeding block is that much. So they're all together. So you have got a period when you're not milking any cows, sort of thing.
Right, okay.
Because you have a dry period, they recover. It's like a recovery period to then calve in and then milk.
What do you mean by calving?
So calve like down, so they have a calf.
Oh, calving.
Yeah.
I'm picturing something's being calved.
It's the accent on the first one, not to be brummy on here, and I think.
Yeah. You are actually. You're the first non-brummy.
Carl will have to put subtitles underneath the click here for subtitles. I'm your bab.
Yeah.
I'll have to do a brummy accent so people can understand me.
That's not even close.
I know. I need to wean into that.
Today's episode is sponsored by DNA Boxing School of Excellence, situated on Maryvale Road in Birmingham and delivering fitness for the whole family. Big up to Danger and the team there for the amazing work they're doing in the community. For more information, check out the description below for their contact details. This episode is sponsored by Southport Building and Property Services. Julian and the team have over 20 years of experience and offer an extensive range of building services. Check out the description below for all of their information. So calving, I'm with you.
So
okay.
So for example, like at the moment we get up at 6, or we're out by 6. First things first, feed the cows. We're not milking at the moment, so we start calving in February. So as a normal the bulk of the year when we're milking, we'll be up, depending on where the cows are. Obviously, we've got a big grazing, what we call grazing platform, so the area of the farm that we can graze with cows. The furthest field might be, you have to get up, you want them sort of milking at, say, 5:15. So you want to go and get them at 5, or if they're going to be a while, you want to get them at 4:45. So depends, what time you need to get up. I don't know. I'm very much get up and go.
Yeah.
Maybe take a coffee in with you.
Yeah.
I don't. It's not. I don't have to worry about looking pretty on on the farm, like so.
So you just get up, whack your clothes on, take a coffee with you, whatever, out you go. And obviously, there's whatever the weather, you're out there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So go and get the cows. Start milking. Then you got calves to feed. Typical day anyway. Calves to feed, cows to feed. Then after that, or put them, set up a fence for them to go out to grass, which is the best thing. You want to profitability wise and cow wise, you want them eating as much grass as possible. It's the best and the cheapest feed that you can get. So yeah.
Do you get attached to them?
Oh yeah. I've got we've had an early calf at the moment, so we start calving on the middle of February. I'm not sure whether this is out on the 3rd.
This will come out Valentine's Day, won't it? So mid-Feb.
We would have had a fair few calves on the ground, but at the moment we've had one that's very early, and we didn't think she was going to make it. But it started feeding out. She's called Evelyn. And she only comes up to my knee. She's tiny, but she's like flower on the bottle and stuff. But yeah, you do. You don't necessarily, we don't name every single cow, but every single cow is a number. So you sort of speak them, that's 512 or something. Yeah. And then you do get certain cows have names, or because certain cows have, same as people, bigger personalities. You always get a matriarch. Yeah. Like a dominant cow. And they obviously, they all look different. Yeah. Like you can tell them from a distance.
Yeah. And so have you got a pets yourself? You've got a dog?
Yeah, 2 dogs, two ferrets.
So do the dogs just roam around with you?
No, my dogs aren't like that. I mean, certain jobs you could do that, say if I was out fencing or whatever, but one of them's 15, so she used to be good at like ratting and stuff, so I might take her around and stuff like that. And the other one's a retired greyhound, and she's a bit not docile, but a little bit docile, I suppose. She's just like she's not bothered. So yeah, not really. Ellie usually takes responsibility of walking them in the mornings and stuff, but obviously we just walk them on the farm, so barely ever see anyone else. But yeah, obviously some people obviously have farm dogs like collies and stuff, and they'll come around all the time.
Yeah, that's what I've pictured in my head. So because we've been talking for what, I don't know how long we've been talking for now, but I got in touch with you.
Midsummer
was it? Yeah. So about 7 months?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
So obviously Neil and Laura passed your number on to me because I said I really want to do the podcast. I've been talking about it for years now, and you'd started your podcast. So they said, speak to Joe, and you and Elson gave me loads of tips on how to get started and stuff. Tried to do it on my own. I couldn't do it on my own. I haven't got enough time, so obviously I found Carl.
Yeah, thank God for Carl.
Because I never would have got it started. I'm too busy. So I can turn up and do the yapping and then go, and then Carl can do like the rest of the stuff, Yeah. So I was talking to you in like back in the summer, sort of for that reason. Yeah. And it became apparent quite quickly how different our lives are.
Yeah.
So obviously, like city life versus country life. And listen, that's where I would ultimately probably want to be. Yeah. Like at the minute, I'm obviously in the city because, the kids are at school. And even though they're at a school quite far away from where we live and it's a bit more rural, and that is a bit of me.
I mean, I couldn't live in a town now.
So you've driven up from Devon today to Birmingham, which you had to leave at 6 or something?
Yeah, 6:30, something like that.
6:30. And then you've gone into towns, you've gone to the Bull Ring. What did you think?
I I think I said to you earlier, fucking weird, weird topic, weird trend of eyelashes.
Oh, yes.
I don't know what the fuck is going on. Everyone's just like these giant eyelashes. They're like weighing people's eyes down. I was being served by someone. I'm like, you just look either baked or disabled. I'm not really sure what, but like, there's just, why does that look good?
Do my eyelashes look like that?
No.
These are not fake, by the way.
No. So but no, seriously though, it's not. It's just ridiculously different. I don't get stuck in traffic where I go.
Of course.
Generally, and you don't see many people. Like South Molton, near where I live, it's got a great community, which is what I like about it. But I mean, I haven't got local where I live, but there's a local pub near me. It's not far away. And they don't have mains electric or mains water. Oh, it's a borehole and a generator. So if the landlord they don't have food, they don't have electric, so they don't use pumps. It's just barrels and tapping off and cans. And if there's not enough people, if it's not like a Friday or a Saturday, he won't bother putting a generator on. So instead of lights, it's just candles.
No way.
Honestly, it's wild.
So I know there's been a storm, hasn't there, recently?
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk, it comes nicely onto the pros and cons of like city life, country life. But so I can't remember what the storm was called, can you?
I don't know. I think the whole thing about naming storms is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think it's insulting to America when like thousands of people are losing lives and homes after like Hurricane Katrina or something. Yeah. And we're naming a bit of wind and rain Dara.
Yeah. That was a few years ago, weren't it, Dara? Was it?
I think that was the one it was called.
Yeah.
The recent one, I think.
Oh, was it?
I think it might have been Dara.
Oh, okay.
Dara or... Yeah, something like that.
Right, so we've had this storm recently. So it's been, what we're now, end of January. It was a few weeks ago, weren't it?
Yeah.
I lost a roof tile.
Yeah.
So that's had to be fixed. But I remember speaking to you at the time and you'd got no power for like days.
Yeah, 3 days.
Yeah.
It was.
And I was like, I know some people in the city did lose power for a very short spell. We didn't. But it was bad. The weather was bad. But down by you, it was fucking bad.
Yeah, but it's still only wind and rain, isn't it?
It is still only wind and rain,
and
yeah.
like I said, I lost power for 3 days. Like, what's a big deal?
I remember speaking to you at the time.
It was a bit annoying, but at times, but you just find ways around it. So, like, for the farm,
it
was a big issue.
Yes.
But we've got, in fairness, most farms will have a generator on farm. So you just switch. It's an expensive thing to have on a farm because it costs thousands. And it's a weird thing to think, but it costs thousands. You have it on farm, but you never want to use it.
Yeah.
Because you only want to use, like, if you have to use it,
yeah.
So you might only use it for 2 days a year.
Yeah. But to lose 2 days a year.
Yeah, so we had to go and pick one up, hire it, and go and pick one up when it was, which is obviously a bit of a pain in the ass because I think there was a fair few trees down and stuff, and John had to go and pick one up. But it was, I could charge my phone off that one up on the farms, and stuff like that. Freezer was a bit annoying, but you just get on with it.
Yeah, I remember speaking to you and you saying like the freezer's gone off and and
we didn't have any lights, so we just have head torches or candles.
Yeah. I know. I just think people would really struggle up here.
Like that.
See what I mean? Playing a board game.
But
I'd love it.
You think you'd struggle, but I think, what would I do? I haven't got Wi-Fi. But in fairness, the internet's shit there anyway. But it's I don't know. It depends on your mindset, doesn't it? You make the most of a bad situation.
Yes, exactly. And when I was thinking about the plan for this episode, and I was thinking the pros and the cons of the city life, I quite like the sound of that. I quite like the sound.
No electric.
Not so much no electric, just
it's a money saver.
A simple life, just a simple life. My life at the minute is the most hectic it's ever been.
Yeah.
And I'm relying a lot on internet and I'm relying a lot on, do you know what I mean? So I feel simplicity is what I'm aiming for. But it's a long way off for me.
I don't know if it's a simple life. I suppose I know what you're saying. Like people go to the country for a simple life, but whereas a farmer, it's not. You're around those people, but you're yourself haven't got a simple life, sort of thing.
Yeah.
You're not getting takeaways, and it's not, you haven't got everything at the push of a button or something. But
exactly, yeah.
But it's definitely not a simple life, because obviously, like I said, everything changes. The work hours are completely different.
Yeah.
You don't have 5 till 5. Like, that doesn't necessarily happen.
Yeah.
You could go out at 5 o'clock in the morning and think you're having breakfast at 8 and not be having anything till like 5 in the evening, because you just haven't stopped all day, or like on certain times of the year. And there are quieter times of the year, and so calving particularly, and breeding. So calving for a spring block, like I said, February to April, and breeding from May to start of July.
Yeah.
Because they have 9 months pregnancy like us.
Yeah.
Well, not like me.
Yeah.
Well, it's 2025, you never know. So it's never like easy, but you have easier days, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not like I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yes.
Because it's so rewarding.
Yeah.
You have a tricky day and stuff, and you get through and have, fucking hell, that was a shit day, let's go to the pub. And you're like, well, you've got a sense of achievement. And you sit I don't know, sick cow and stuff, and like we had a down cow managed to tip herself in a feed trough.
Right.
So she has a nerve damage. You pick her up like daily with the tractor straps and stuff, get some blood flow to her legs, give her lots of painkillers and stuff. And then you walk in now and you can't pick her out, because she's just walking around and she's completely fine. She just saved, like, it's a weird thing, like, you just, like, to say saving lives, it's like, obviously not like a doctor, but you're still saving lives, and it's a crazy,
that's really rewarding. Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah,
you don't get that in a lot of jobs. And I know that obviously the downside of that is sometimes you can't, and it's shit. But yeah.
I know that when we've spoken recently, and it's not something I'd considered, but I've considered it a lot since you mentioned it, is the suicide rate in the farming industry because of the lone working.
Yeah, and the pressures. Obviously, seeing cows die, particularly, not just. I think for people like me who work in it, probably less.
Yeah.
Because we've chose to be in there. And you choose to be in there, and it's a way of life. It's a lot, but it's a choice. And don't get me wrong, it's still a choice to be in it if you're born into it.
Yeah.
But it's almost not. Like, there's almost a pressure, you've got to farm because your dad farmed, and it's almost like not everyone has a lenient, you can go and do whatever you want, son. Sometimes you feel like people feel a bit of pressure, and if the farm's not going well, that's not just your wage, your life, your family's life, and everything. And it's just, I think people feel a bit more pressure if it's not only you not succeeding, you can't just leave and go and get another job.
Yes.
It's not like that. Or same with any tenant farmers. If you've just started, if you're renting a farm, say, and you've just started business and stuff, there's a lot of pressure to make money, and it's such a hard thing to get in. So, for example, you're buying financially, if you're starting up a 100 cow herd, just for the cows, you're 150 grand down. So, like, it's not like small money, and it takes so long to get any back.
Yeah.
So I think. And there is a lot of lone working pressure, seeing animals die. So TB, for example, is horrible. And I've known people that have seen their whole herds have to go.
Oh, God,
because,
And you mentioned to me in the week when we were talking about, because obviously there's some farmers have got access to weapons, shotguns and stuff. So, it does take a turn for the worse, doesn't it?
And rural areas, like you said, people don't find you. May not necessarily be around so many people to notice or ask for help.
So I didn't even consider that, and it was you that said about it, and I was like, God, like, within the pros and the cons of. You are going to be on your own. It is going to be graft. You are going to see some horrible shit, and that takes resilience, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't know the statistics, but I know that agriculture is a higher industry in suicide rates or mental health issues, or people. I think we're above, from a self-diagnosed questionnaire, I think it was done, we're above the average on how people physically feel.
Yeah.
Which is understandable, but lower than average on how people mentally feel.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
And that's not me, it's just other, like, you know, that's the general thing.
Yeah,
me personally, I'm quite I'm quite a resilient person.
Yeah.
I've chosen to be in it. Although, to be fair, I couldn't get out of it now. I don't think, because I would consider myself a failure if I did bottle it. And I have come close a few times, but I couldn't. It's not for, I'm too invested, and I love it as well. You get bad days, but it so outweighs it. And as we were talking earlier, it's a mindset thing.
Yeah.
If you change it to think, I get to do this today rather than I have to do this.
Exactly that, because we just were waiting for car, weren't we? And we went and had a coffee over the road, and we were sat talking about mindset. And I told you about, I'll come on to it in a bit, but I told you about a book I'd recently bought, and I feel like it's changed my life in the last week alone. But just like you said, if you are thinking, I've got to go to work today, versus I get to go to work today, that's a mindset shift, isn't it?
And always, I'm probably not the best person for advice a lot of the time, depend on who you are and how you take it, but I'd always think myself, I'll give myself sort of, if something happens, I'll be like, I don't know, a cow has died or something, you know, could have been 3. Or, could have been, well, it sounds worse, but like could have been Ellie, or could have been, you know, or even like, you look at friends or what's going on in their lives, or for like the news, you just, well, I'm not in Palestine, or we're getting bombed to fuck. There's always someone worse off, even close. So you're just like, well, I always do that. So someone like Ellie's a lot more emotional and a lot more sensitive than me, but I always, like, something's upset her at work or something, I'm like, well, it could be worse, you know, could not have a job and be on the, like, you know, we're in a very privileged position of where, not just where we are in the world as well, like, it's a you can't be sad for long. You walk out onto and just think, oh, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
I just think, you know, but I don't get too high. I don't let myself get too high either. So just sort of try and stay mellow. Not that it makes me sound miserable, but hope I won't get. I'll just keep. If I hit a target, I'll just change it and go again, sort of thing.
Yeah, like I feel like for me, I saw something in the week, and it was like something about targets and just constantly raising the bar, and that is me. I always feel like I'm striving for more because I keep raising my own bar. Yeah. So I get to a level, and then I move it up, and then I move it up, and I don't know why, and I don't know when. It's working well. It's working, and but like exactly the mindset thing we were just saying. I get to go to work. I'm so fortunate to be able to exercise.
Yeah, like
rather than I don't want to go to the gym.
I can ride a bike because I have legs.
Yeah. It's just a complete mindset shift, isn't it? And it's just so, the gratitude in it, and I think it makes you be really grateful. And like you say, looking out at your views that you've got. I mean, I live in the city, and I'm walking my dog every morning at 6 a.m, and I'm like, I'm taking in everything around me, the birds. Like this morning we saw a couple of foxes, and like, I mean, she went wild at the first one, the dog did. She was like, what the fuck is this? Like, you know, and she was like, because the first fox that we saw like, ran out in front of us, and she was just not expecting it, because she was like, it's not a cat and it's not a dog. Like,
we've probably got more foxes around here than we do in the country, to be fair.
Oh, loads of foxes. And because I live like Lahill, which you wouldn't know what it is, but it's like just a lot of greenery around Bush, you know.
That's nice.
Really nice. South Birmingham.
So you're best of both, really.
Absolutely, because you know where I am as well. I'm like really close to like the Licky Hills, the Waisley Hills, Clent Hills.
Licky Hills.
Yeah. You know, I'm close to everything. So the greenery is just within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm there. And yeah, just this morning, you know, seeing the foxes and listening to the birds, and I'm really grateful for it all. And I don't know if it's a mind shift thing with just what I've been doing lately in terms of like, the episode will have come out by now by the time this one comes out, but the energy healing lady, Pam, that's been on recently, I've been talking to her for months, and she's changed my mindset quite a lot Not that I was ever
No,
negative.
because you're a very bubbly person anyway.
Yeah, I was never negative. I mean, I have been fucking in the trenches, mate.
Well, on the third episode.
I've been in some very, very bad places. But, like, for a long time, I've been on the up. And that's not... don't want to tempt anything and go, there's only one way down. But I feel like I'm doing all right. And like you said, trying to sort of stay mellow. Yeah. Talk to me about the government with the farming industry. Because
Starmer the Farmer Harmer.
Oh, wow, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't love that, but that's a good... Starmer the Farmer Harmer.
I'm not the best person. I'm not like... I talked to you about like cows and farming, not what like I bore you to death on it because I'm so passionate about it. But like the industry wise, I'm not that knowledgeable. As opposed to sort of other people in it, really, I guess. But it's not my forte. I'm in this job that I'm in now to understand more about the business and the broader thing, so I can potentially set myself up to start my own farm. Because I think you need a bigger understanding, but. In my opinion, it's a tricky one because you can see both sides. So it's like they've always been exempt from inheritance tax or death tax. So from now, it's anyone over $1 million.
Yeah.
A property over $1 million gets taxed 20%.
Right.
Well, $1 million is not that much for farm size. That's a very small farmer.
Okay.
With $1 million, and like I said, the margins are very small. So if the margins are that small, everyone think, well, why are you any different? Well, I suppose the difference is it's only farmers that are trying to feed the country. And that sounds hard, they should, I'm not saying they should be given better rights or anything, but it's not like they have £1 million. If you go and find £1 million farmer with a £5 million farm, and you look at them and their life and stuff, it's not like they're living in an ivory tower. It's not like they're living in. So you find someone with a businessman, like a normal businessman, works 5 days a week, might do a lot of hours in those times, earning a big wage, and has a £5 million house. His lifestyle is very different than a farmer. It's not like they're working, and it's not like
it doesn't compare.
I don't think farmers aren't the best at PR either.
No,
like they will be careful that the striking and stuff, but you can't strike your own farm. You can't. It's impossible. Like
you're not going to. It's not going to work.
Well, you wouldn't anyway. You couldn't just turn away from your cows because that's your life as well, your home, and your conscience wouldn't allow it. But I've seen people like blocking traffic with tractors and stuff like that. I think there's a very fine line. You've got to be careful that you don't piss off the general public because you kind of need them on your side. So that, I would. It's a tricky one because you want to sort of raise questions. I mean, I don't like the current government. Didn't like the last one either. Like neither of them. But this one, fuck me, it's like lie after lie. They've just like the winter taxes, everything. It's just like, fuck me, they are shocking. And I'm definitely not a political expert, but that's just my opinion. I think they are.
And so I asked you in the week.
It's embarrassing almost. And also, all right, granted, it's mostly on the dodgy social media, but and it's sort of come out of like loads of different pictures with Jimmy Savile with Keir Starmer, which doesn't do him any favours either, does it? I know when he was a boy in that, but it's
well, I was going to ask you about Clarkson's farm. Because my brother said to me, just for your research, for when Farmer Joe comes up, watch Clarkson's farm. And I swear to God, I do want to watch it, but I just haven't had time. And I do want to watch. Have you watched it? Yeah. Do you like it? You love it? Okay, I'll start it.
I could give you some other ones to watch that might be better, or maybe more realistic. I would say it's good. But just remember Top Gear. It's not real. It is an act. He is not buying a tractor. It's too small to go in the shed. And if you notice on the shed, it's been hit like multiple times. So they've obviously done that shot and done it again and again and again to get the right shot. So it's not like, but he raises some really good points. Yes, it is hard to make a profit. There are loads of stupid things in the way. The government took away, like, which I agree with, the single farm payment, so that people were getting paid per acre just for the privilege of owning land, which I think is mental, because there was a lot of shit farmers. That's not the case now, because everyone's kind of, you have to be a good farmer, farm responsibly to make a profit. And so there's incentives now to help the environment, so there should be, but they could be improved or a bit better. That you get paid for doing certain things instead. So from that aspect, the government are doing good, but previous government that was, don't know what this one's going to do yet. But I think Clarkson's farm it's great because it does offer a different viewpoint. Like, do you watch Country File? Have you ever watched Country File?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
good Sunday night telly.
Yeah, so
really wholesome.
Again, there's good things about that, and some of the things are. Some of the stuff, especially on Clarkson Farm, is over dramatized because that makes TV.
Of course.
As opposed to, it's more of a reality TV as opposed to a documentary, maybe.
Yeah.
So there are like quirks, and he does do it well because he's got people in cities and stuff watching and realising, because I think it's so important to understand where your food comes from.
It is, and I'm going to watch
don't.
it. Yeah, I'm going to watch it, but I just haven't got round to it yet. And my brother was like, you need to watch that before Joe comes up. And I was like, I know. And I like, planned to watch it all week. And then when I said to you, and you were like, oh, I don't know, like, you probably don't need to.
There's a lot of farmers that actually like it as well.
Yeah.
It's not just like...
You might need then.
City feet, yeah. Oh, my neck does it, so...
So I was going to... I asked you, obviously, about Clarkson's Farm in the week, and yeah, you know, I will get round to it and I will watch it, but it was just a bit of a question on your thoughts.
Yeah, no, it's definitely important, because there's not enough out there to educate, particularly kids in schools. And when I say kids, I mean, like, high school, like 12 to...
My boys.
Yeah. Because most people... I was lucky. Most people don't realise there's a career in it. We're desperately in need of people to come into agriculture. I think the average age now is still 58.
Is it?
Yeah, which is insane, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a lot more young people coming in, and things are being done to make it more attractive. So, like, when I first started, when I was on £5.60 an hour, I was doing 72, 75, 80-hour weeks.
Jesus.
And now, that's not... And every 12 on, 2 off sort of thing.
Yeah.
So every other weekend, that's the only time you get off.
Yeah.
Whereas now, things have changed. Like, you get 10, 3 days off in 2 weeks sort of thing, or 4 days off, and the way, because kids can't do it now.
Yeah.
Like, I've had a lot of younger people come through under me doing stuff, and if they would have had my start to it, they would have just left.
Yeah, and I spoke to you, didn't I? Because
people.
Thomas is getting to the point where he's got to go for work experience, and you said, I could easily get him a placement somewhere, probably local to you, because they're all sort of...
Everyone talks to each other.
Everyone talks, yeah. So, and I mentioned it to him, and he was like, well up for it, but then he realised he got to get up early and graft.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh, okay, maybe I'll just go to work with my dad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, fuck's sake.
But it is rewarding. Like, it is graft, but it is rewarding. Like, I've had such a good sort of life with it.
Yeah.
For the last 15 years. All right, granted, I haven't had I think I've had 1, maybe 2 Christmases off in the last 12 years. Yeah. 15 years. But I enjoy it. I love working Christmas. It means, 1, I can't go anywhere, so everyone has to come to me. Yeah. And 2, it breaks up the day. So get up. Generally, there's not a lot to do on Christmas Day because you build it up so you don't have to. We're not milking on a spring block calving. But so another positive. You just, and it's not counting one of your days off. But no, I don't know. It's so important. Like, and I've been trying to, because when I was coming through, there wasn't like there's loads of books, but nothing sort of that would capture everything.
Right.
And it was either something I couldn't understand, so I had another little called the John Dix Agricultural Dictionary, I think it is. And I was checking words because there was so much I didn't, like, I was reading a book and I had to look a word up because I just did not know what it was.
I still have to do that now.
So I've been trying to write a book I started years ago and then it sort of fizzled out.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, again, I want to do like a series. So starting like a book that could be for that anyone could pick up from 12 to 50 called Introduction to Agriculture. Like, I don't know yet, probably that. That anyone can pick up from 12 to 60 or whatever, that's just might either have an interest in farming, no interest in whatever, but not know anything about it, and it will help them, but without being patronising.
Yeah.
So I'm going to dedicate a day, a week now, and try and get that done in 2025. And like in schools, it just needs, because it doesn't get taught. We learn so much pointless shit. But we don't learn about where the food comes from. And it's not just farming, where it comes from, but why it's important to, like, be healthier. Like, I follow the Zoe podcast a lot. Sims Factor, it's brilliant. And it's work done on health through actual trials and stuff. And it's things like, buy local, buy British. Generally, if you buy British, you are pretty good. You're getting a pretty good standard of animal welfare. You can up that by free range. You can up that again by organic. I know it gets more expensive and it is cost of living crisis, but generally speaking, if you buy a better product, I would say you'd save money going to the butchers as well. If you're religiously going to the same butcher, you will save money long term, and you'll get a lot more out of the product.
Yeah, I'll use the butchers.
So for example, a chicken, if you get a better quality chicken, you get more flavour, you get more meat on it. You'll have a meal you might get roast chicken, then you got chicken wraps, then you got
chicken pie.
Or a chicken pie. Then get the last shreds off, boil it up into a stock. You got chicken noodle soup.
Yeah.
Or a tom yum soup or whatever, And
talked about this on the Glimpenal episode, didn't we? About how far you can make it stretch.
Yeah,
you can.
You can easily.
But you talking about the free range, I'll have to look at my phone because I've got a question. Because, for people that are watching, if you're not following the socials, follow the Instagram, because I put, like today, for example, I've put on that we were doing this episode, and if you've got any questions, drop them in. You've already answered some of them because you've talked about the inheritance tax. So I had a couple of different questions from different people about the inheritance tax, which you've already answered. The other one, the question from Fitness Factory family, big up the Fitness Factory, Kings Norton Gym, where George Thorpe trains. So, and I'll have to read it because otherwise I'll get it wrong. So, it's all a little bit about it's all about the abuse of animals. And we did talk about it when we were having a coffee because I wanted to just get your opinion on it. So from your perspective, and I know you know your shit on this, about how animals are treated and sort of like the guidelines around free range. Yeah. So what can you tell us about that?
I'd say there's a fair misconception on abuse. You might see like horror videos and stuff of mistreatment of
I've seen
animals.
some horrible videos, and I'll be honest with you now.
And that's even worse. So watch that from an outside point of view. Watch it from an inside point of view. It's even worse because one, that's your industry. Two, you care more about animals than the average person, generally speaking, because you're there and you love them all the time.
Yeah.
But there are dickheads that don't. They're in it for a job. They're in it for a wage, as opposed to in it for
the passion, because
you want it. And it's a very, very small minority, but small minorities cause big noise generally.
Yeah.
Look, that can be said about religions and all sorts of things. A small minority can make a big noise and create a negative sort of connotation of things, I guess. And it's not, I think, it's if you see them, a lot of farms will have cameras on now.
Yeah.
One, because of security, because loads of shit gets nicked all the time. And two, if you've got a lot of staff, it's to stop that happening. Because these videos that people have planted, they're not by the farmers. Farmers don't want to treat their cows like shit because that's not what they're in it for.
Yeah.
And they're in, like, farm owners I'm talking. Like,
yeah.
But a worker might not have that. They might be just in it for a wage, like I say.
Yeah.
And if they are, they'll get sacked for that. Like, they would have got sacked for that.
Yeah.
Like, there would be a massive investigation. It's not like that's a tolerable thing to do, and it's such a small thing. Whereas, and as for the treatment side of things, like conditions, we do have a much, much higher level of animal welfare in this country than certainly America. There's no like, pumping hormones or steroids into animals sort of thing. And it's improving all the time, like the drugs and stuff. We have strict rules on drugs that you can't use because of the human health, like because you're saving them for the human health. So like penicillins we need, so we don't use that. Try not to use them in cattle. And you can agree or disagree with, so like I said about the intensive farm.
Yeah.
From an outside perspective, that's horrendous. And it's not how I would farm personally, but they were ridiculously looked after. They're shining, that you've got to make them profitable, but also it's a pride point of view. There's something good now with called the Open Farm Sunday. If you've got one by you, go. It's brilliant. I think it's on the same Sunday every year.
Yeah.
And it's just normal farms open up to the public, and they can walk around, see your cows, whatever. And people are being more and more open about their farms. You can go and see for yourself. Like if you go past our farm, you can just go see the cows from the field. You can see them. If you drove, there's nothing like to hide.
Yeah,
we're not.
Because I've seen some videos, but I'll be honest with you, any animal or any sort of abuse of any kind, I really struggle to watch. And I've got some friends on my socials that post things, and I might not react or comment to it because I physically cannot cope with it. I look at, if I was to see an animal being abused, it would really, really upset me. So I'll just literally have to flick past it. I can't look at it.
There's no, right, from a point of view of, there's no need in it for a start.
Yeah.
Like if you are hitting an animal or something like that, like a cow, for example, is what I do.
Yeah.
There's no, you're doing something wrong, not as in morally you are, but you're doing something wrong in the first place to have to do that.
Yeah.
So if you're moving cows, they have a flight zone.
Right.
So you can move cows by literally stepping into their flight zone.
Yeah.
And they'll move a bit. You step out, they'll stop. And you can move cows like that just by using your body position.
Right.
And that is how you should do it. You don't need to even shout.
Right, okay.
Like, most of the time, you don't need to shout. Like,
yeah, because I just cannot cope with anything like that. And, do you know, it's been a horrendous, I can't even talk about it, but there's been a horrendous thing in the news this week up here in relation to knife crime. And I'll briefly talk about that with you in a minute, but about the knife crime, not the incident, because I just can't, because I just feel like the negative, I'm more and more staying away from looking at the news and all of that because I just don't want to see it. But I have come across some videos and I can't look.
Yeah.
Can't look. Just really upsets me. But that actually brings me on, because I remember one of the first chats we had. I said to you, there's someone I really want to get on. And I've been in touch with her about bleed control kits.
Right.
And you were like, what's that?
Yeah, not. And
I was like, this just shows how different our lives are, like from city to country life. Just sums it up perfectly. Because I was like, well, knife crime's a thing here. Like, to have a bleed control kit within a close distance.
Yeah.
I mean, there's defibs have been out in supermarkets and whatnot generally for a while now. So if you phoned an ambulance and you were in a supermarket and someone was having a cardiac arrest or was in a cardiac arrest, they would be able to generally guide you to a defib, or you could ask the manager, is there
and everything now,
is there a defib? And then, I'm trained to use one, so I would be confident enough to use that, So bleed control kits are working in a similar way in terms of they're popping up in places that are open late, for one, because there's no point having it in a shop that shuts at 3:00 or whatever. No. So they might be in pubs, they're in phone boxes now. Me and Laura and Neil went for breakfast over in Redditch, and we were walking back to the car and there was one in a phone box. So I was like, no way.
What's in it?
It's like enough first aid equipment to stop a bleed.
What, like a belt or like a torsion thing?
Yeah, sort of tourniquet type.
That's it.
So
I only know that from watching films, to be fair.
Yeah, well,
like,
by me, there's a glassworks company, And over the road, there's a pub. Anyway, there's an industrial accident in the glassworks place, and they've obviously called an ambulance, and they've directed them to the nearest bleed control kit, which was in the pub.
Oh, yeah, so it's
saved
not
a
just
life.
stabbings,
Not just stabbings. This was an industrial accident in the workplace.
So
saved his life.
I suppose that there would be called for it, but generally we have stuff on farm that we can, because it wouldn't be stabbings, but it is the most. I think agriculture is the most dangerous injury in the world now since mining's come.
Is it the most dangerous industry?
So. It's either that or it's second to mining still. Like
okay.
One of the, it's up there because there's a lot of accidents. There's a fair few deaths, too many deaths. Any deaths is too many, but you know what I mean? But generally we have things on farm that can help you out, like, but there are still too many deaths. But like, I mean, I've had my fair share of accidents and sort of treated. I've got like a skin staple gun, you know.
Oh my God!
I've sewed my hand up. I know someone who glued it.
Yeah.
I've got a fair few scars. I got a scar down the back of my leg there, where I jumped over, stopped some cattle running down the lane, and I jumped over and ripped the back open with a barbed wire fence. Oh, that's what I done. Oh, I got done all my ribs and stuff because I was, you know, like a JCB.
Yeah.
And they got the buckets on the front like that while we were cleaning that shed, and I was getting we had a load of balls, like a whole shed of balls.
Yeah.
And I was going through, moving them out of the way. And usually you just disobey, they're really good. You just shoo them and they're out of the way. So it's basically keeping out of the way of the JCB. And it was coming behind me, and it just goes, and it sort of shook his head, and I was like, and he goes, "No, not today," and just drove me in, and I jumped and twisted, and he drove me into the bucket and along the bucket. If I hadn't jumped and twisted, it would have been my spine. It would have just gone.
Oh my God!
So that was a dicey day, and then I made sure I got back in the shed and did it again the next day, just because I knew if I left it a week, I'd freak out and I'd be scared or never do it again. Or something like that. Yeah. That was bad. Oh, hit in the face with a shovel, which snapped me eye socket.
Oh my God! So
I did go to hospital for, actually.
Yeah. But you know, the financial advisor episode when he talks about risky occupations, and I said
very different.
Yeah. So he was talking about risky occupations from like a security kind of level, right?
Yeah.
So if you work for the government, you're quite safe because, do you know what I mean? Or you work, you know, the public sector.
Yeah.
You got a pretty safe job. Whereas me, being me, he said risky occupation, and I said ice road truckers, because I was like, that sounds dangerous. Do you know what I mean?
I remember that. Yeah.
So like that, your occupation is an actual risky occupation.
Yeah, there's a fair few risks. There's horrendous stories of, like, in fairness, it can be high because of stupidity at times.
Yeah,
or putting yourself in. So I've had a fair few injuries and stuff, but I've never really, apart from cows, you can't really get away from that. But I've rarely put myself in situations where I'm really at risk of my life. Yes. I don't mind, like, I broke my ankle and stuff.
Yeah.
And that was just jumping after, trying to run through nettles after a cow.
Yeah.
And rolled and... but I was back at work the next day. I just put a black boot on, some udder mint, which is amazing, by the way. If you use udder mint, you can get it from the shop.
What's it called?
Udder mint.
Udder mint.
Yeah, it's for swelling on the udder or any problems in the udder, soothing the udder. It's like tea tree, loads of natural stuff, but it shits all over ibuprofen gel. Honestly, my bruising came up and went down so much quicker.
Never heard of it.
I'd done all the ligaments and stuff, and it was literally made it bearable to walk on.
No
With
way.
that and a black boot.
With
a like a feed sack over that taped around it to keep it dry.
Yeah.
And I was back to work. But it's that there's some stupid. That's my stupidity for, you know, jumping off and being a bit silly. But you've got like things like, and there's a lot of education in agriculture to try and stop this, like things like this happen. But so like people trying to unblock a combine harvester with the engine running.
Yeah.
Just stupidity.
Yeah.
But someone's going to lose either their arms, their life, whatever. And it, horrendous if anyone's watching and thinking you heartless prick. But stupidity, you know, it's horrible to say, but it's almost natural selection.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think you should put "do not drink bleach" on bleach bottles.
Yeah, it should just be self-explanatory.
Should they be allowed to vote? No. No. At that point, you're not doing anyone any favours, are you? If you're drinking bleach, let them do it.
Yeah, let them do it.
But I think it is a dangerous industry, but it's also one of those things that you're never going to get all out. Health and safety is important, but it can go too far. Like it can be ridiculous, you know.
Right, spin justice of the week. Do you have one?
Yeah, media. Well, fake news. I feel like Donald Trump saying that, but
fake news.
Go on. Fake news. So there was a thing came up. One of my friends, sadly, shared it. And he's not a stupid guy, but he shared it because he'd just been scrolling through and he'd seen this woman stood outside of Tesco, I think it was, talking about they're not putting the supermarkets talking about they're not putting all their ingredients on the milk. So
right.
Because there's one fucking ingredient, it's milk.
Right. Yeah.
Granted, it's better to buy a local vending machine if you can. I get that's not a case in cities, but like we were talking about earlier, for non-homogenised milk, basically buying local is always better.
Yeah.
You're getting a better quality product as well. Non-homogenised milk's better for you. The raw and pasteurised is not the major issue. But she stood outside this thing and said there's a new ingredient in the milk. No. This ingredient called Bavea, which is a trial on certain farms, Arla farms, certain farms that sell to Arla, and they're on the intensive farms. Arla have loads of different types of farms sell milk to them. And maybe that's something they need to do to, advertise what sort of farm that this milk belongs to or whatever.
Yeah.
But basically it's a feed additive to potentially lower the methane that a cow produces.
Right.
Which is it's just a trial. It's already been through labs and stuff like that, as any other, human
trial.
product would be. It's hazardous to humans directly. We and cows are different animals.
Yeah.
So the cow has the ability to digest it. They've got 4 stomachs, and the idea is that it reduces, because the agriculture is under a massive pressure to reduce greenhouse gases, which is a completely different topic, and I'll be here forever if I talk about that. But it's not an ingredient. It's no different to, on the intensive systems, you feed extra minerals.
Yeah.
Just or maize, grass. You're not putting grass, maize, and minerals or extra fat or anything like that. You're not putting that on the label.
Right.
It's just milk.
Yeah.
You don't put water, soil, and I don't know, bit of like shit on a organic carrot label, do you?
No.
Like,
because it's just a
insane.
carrot.
Yeah, you're not putting, I don't know, whatever on.
So what was the news? What was the fake news?
It was basically that. It was just saying, they're not putting. It's dangerous to humans. They're not putting on a label, but it's not a thing. It's just.
It's not an ingredient.
No, so it's just kind of trying to spin a thing, and there's been loads of things like that. Of, Arla, boycott Arla. Well, if we supply to Arla.
Yeah.
If you're boycotting Arla, you're boycotting
you.
And and we're producing milk in a very, very ethical way, in a very sustainable way. And most spring block calvers will be doing that. It's a low input, low output kind of system, making the most of the land, farming it as not necessarily organically farming it, but as organically as possible.
Yeah.
Because fertilizers are ridiculously expensive as well. So, and I suppose that leads into a kind of a spin just as well is with a bit more misinformation is what what was I say? I've lost it. See, my mind goes fucking mental, and then I just lose track of what else I was going to say. We got but yeah, no, that's probably it for a minute, unless I forget.
Well, mine feeds nicely into that. My spin justice is around. So, I'm just going to say what it is. Facebook Marketplace. I've been looking recently for spin bikes. Obviously, that's my business, that's what I do. And to buy them brand new is really expensive. There's a lot of gyms that are shutting down because people can't keep up with the fees and stuff. So along with that goes with all the stock that they've got to get rid of. So I tend to buy the second-hand bikes.
Yeah, well,
it's easy.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So when I come to look for something, so the first place I'm going to go is like eBay, Gumtree, Facebook Marketplace. Yeah. So I'm looking for more bikes this week. I've found some now. But when I have gone onto Marketplace to look, there are so many adverts of things that are free.
Drives me mental.
It says, whatever it is, wardrobe, free. Yeah. Click on it and it's like brand new, takes you to a site, and I'm getting fucking wound up now because I ain't got time to be looking for all this shit.
Yeah.
Why? If you're putting stuff on Facebook Marketplace, do not put that it is free if it's not free. It's just fucking winding me up.
Yeah, this was a cockhead of mine in a previous one when I was looking for a sofa. And you just get loads of these sofas and you're like, but they were clever. They put like for 150 quid.
Yeah.
And they put it in a setting like it looks like it's not new. So you click on it and then it goes to another site and you're like, you bastards.
Yeah.
And so it's a waste of my time.
I wasn't even looking for a fucking wardrobe. I don't even know why but the wardrobe came. I was looking for fucking spin bikes. But when I went through Marketplace, I don't know why, I must have been looking for furniture previously, so it drops into there. So I'm looking and then it's got like a wardrobe that looks like it's in someone's bedroom. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like, so I'm like,
that's what I mean.
So like, I'm okay. Oh, that looks nice. And now I'm in there now. So I'm looking. So and it says free. And I'm a sucker for anything free. So I'll have it even if I don't need it.
Yeah, and I'll sell it for 50.
Yeah. So I clicked on it, and then it takes. But there were so many of these adverts. But it was like a different style of wardrobe.
Right.
But it was clearly the same person with all these adverts, and it was fucking winding me up. Anyway,
you should be able to like report them or something.
Yeah,
and then
I just
get
was
them fucked off.
In the end, I found some spin bikes in Blackpool. I've had a few people reach out to me to say, "I'll help you out to go and get them."
Yeah, fair
so
play.
Yeah, sound. That's all I wanted, but I wrote it in my notes on my phone because it wound me up so much in the week. I thought, I'm going to forget this. So when we've got to the studio and I'm thinking it must be Injustice of the Week, I've gone in my phone and I was like, what was it again? And I was like, Facebook Marketplace, free adverts.
100% agree with that.
Pricks. Yeah. Right, shout-outs. You got any shout-outs?
Oh, I'll shout out my podcast if that's all right.
Shout out to Two Cocks, obviously.
Podcast. Yeah, that's it, really. I mean, I could be sat here for ages. I've got so many good people. That's a good thing about when you get older, and you just surround yourself with good people, and you fuck all the bad ones off. So shout out to everyone really. My brother, I'm going to my brother's tonight, so that'd be a good.
That's
good
the bonus of travelling up, isn't it?
Yeah, I do get to come and see them.
Yeah, brilliant. So I'm going to shout out this book that I said I'd come back to.
Yeah.
So Energy Healing Pam, who's like featuring in my life quite a bit at the minute, she's guiding me. And like I say, I'm a pretty stable person. I am quite feral and I've been very wild in the past, but I'm quite stable at least, consistent with it. She introduced me to a book called The Secret.
Yeah.
And I bought it. So when we recorded the episode, I went home that night, looked on Amazon and bought it, and it came the next day. And I've been reading it ever since, and I swear to God, things are happening. And like, if I said to you earlier when we was having a coffee, if I said this to my dad, he'd be like, get her down to the doctors.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with her. Like, she's mental. But I swear to God, like, manifestation is a thing and the frequency is a thing. And if you were, like attracts like, if you say to yourself or be so positive or, you're attracting it to yourself. And I feel like these things are happening in such a short space of time. Like, basically, just whoever's listening, just go and buy the book. It's like 11 quid.
Yeah.
You said you're going to maybe get it on audio because you don't have time to read. So they do it on an audio book. I've got the paperback. Actually, and also my brother, Nick, he, from the Aidan Hammond episode, which has just come out in the last week, he talks about DJ Fat Tony's book.
Yeah.
And literally that day, my brother bought it for me. And
right.
So he come to my spin class last night because my brother Nick comes to spin, and chucked a parcel into my bag, and he was like, "Oh, your book's in there." So I've got that to read as well now. So I'll be reading the two. Yeah, so I'm buzzing with that.
I think I said to you earlier. I think I might not necessarily believe in, like, I'm quite a skeptical as positive I am, I'm quite skeptical of things, and I don't think necessarily it's like I think it's going to happen anyway, a lot of things, but I think it's that positive mindset. I said to you earlier, like, I think if you have that mindset of I'm going to do this, or you, it's not necessarily that they're not going to happen anyway, but you notice them more because you're thinking positively, so you appreciate those things as opposed to, and you sort of ignore the negative things or think, oh, it could be worse or whatever. You highlight, whereas if you're in a downward space, everything, all the negativity gets amplified.
Exactly.
And you take the good things that happen for granted.
And do you know what? Even if that's what it is, like, so even if, like,
so
you
it's
say,
still a good thing either way.
Yeah, even if it's always meant to be and it's all there lined up for you anyway, even if that is the case, I have just felt a shift. And I am a positive, bubbly person regardless, but even since reading the book, I feel like my frequency's levelled up. And I'm getting up before my alarm. This morning my alarm was set for 6 because I've got a class on a Thursday at 7:15. So I get up and, like, you know, I'm in the gym for 7. This morning my alarm was set for 6, but I was up at 6:15.
Yeah.
And I just woke up, went downstairs, got my tea. I was out with the dog for like 6:15 and just enjoying the birds and the foxes and all that. And I just felt like so grateful and so positive at 6 a.m.
I have a question for you.
Go on.
Did you do your ice bath though?
No.
Have you done it yet?
Do you know why?
Why?
Because obviously Laura brought it round for me last week.
Yeah.
And her and Neil were like, we're not using this, you can use it. But she said to me, you're gonna need to give it a scrub.
Yeah.
And so it's still under the stairs because it's the cleaning part of it that I haven't got round to do. So this weekend, I've got a little bit of time. So the plan is give it a clean, get it filled up. Because what the new process is going to be, get up at 6, have my tea, do my meditation, read my 10 pages of my book, which at the moment is The Secret, but I've got a few lined up now to read.
Yeah.
Get out with the dog, and then ice bath. Then sort of like the kids have to be at the bus stop for 8 o'clock. So by the time I'm back at like 8:10, I'm good to go. The lot's done. And I swear to God, you have a better day.
I didn't realise that Neil and Laura got you the...
Ice bath.
Yeah.
It's theirs.
Neil's bought Laura Ellie one for Christmas. This is before he knew that she was pregnant. So I don't know whether you can do it or not. I didn't look into it. But ironically, he also bought me the tickets to do the ultra marathon.
Yes.
So, which is obviously
great presents.
Yeah. So I'm going to be using that ice bath more than her, I think. But
yeah.
I can't. I don't know if I can bring myself. I hate cold water.
I'm a full-on fanny. So you know. Like, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I can't even turn the shower on cold. So Connor, I saw Connor in the gym in the week. Connor Mooney, like, so obviously he's done the ice bath for like 90 days. So I said to him, right, I've got one. But do you know what I was going to say? As a joke. Because have you seen these videos, these fit girls doing ice baths?
No.
Right. To advertise an ice bath, there's these fucking fit as girls, right?
Yeah.
Bikinis on, all tanned, looking fit, getting in an ice bath, and I'm telling you now, I ain't going to look like that. So I said, just a fucking piss take, I'm going to put a shower cap on and goggles and like some sort of like all-in-one.
Yeah, like the Victorians, like Oh,
and film myself and do it that way. Because I ain't going to look like them models.
I'm going to look like, if I do it, I'm going to look like fucking, like when you see a walrus just flop off an ice cap. That's what I'm going to look like.
I just thought there ain't no way I'm going to look like that, so I might as well just fucking own it.
No, exactly.
So I'm going to, yes, it's on my list. Sorry, I've not done it yet, but I'm going to get there in a few episodes' time. Probably by the time this one comes out, I'll be doing it.
Religiously, hopefully. Yeah, I might try and, I'm picking up it from Neil today, so I'll give that a go. Cause I think I'm going to be getting sore doing this.
Well, we'll do it together then, yeah?
Yeah, done.
Yeah.
I've got no, that'll actually make me do it because I wasn't going to do this ultra because I'm not a runner. The last time I ran was when I did that marathon without training.
Yeah.
And I was fucked for 7 days.
Yeah.
Like, really, like, absolutely. I thought I ran it for Mind and Arthritis UK, and I thought I'd given myself arthritis because my hips were just like, I could feel it because of the impact. I was about fat. Like when I was running, I was like, fucking hell, I need a sports bra. Like I can feel my tits going up and down and my belly going up and down. I was like, fuck, I've got 26 miles of this. So I'm actually training for this one, but
so you're training now and you're doing the ultra. Is it May?
Yeah, so I've got like a few months to get.
Yeah, you'd be fine.
A lot of training.
And you get the ice bath in. That's good for your recovery.
Obviously, I'm doing it with Neil. He's ridiculously fit anyway.
Neil's fit.
But
I want to get Neil
so I'm
on.
going to struggle. He'd be class.
I've
had him on, obviously, on the 2
I've wanted to get him on for a while. I'll speak to him. I want to get him on. I quite want to talk to him about the job he's doing now, to be honest. So I'll
that'd be interesting. I've had some funny stories off of him about that already.
Yeah.
I sent him a really funny podcast the other day as well about that. No, if anyone is watching, please follow me or follow the Two Cops podcast, because I will be doing updates on the journey of the ultra.
Yeah, I'm
and
following.
I'll be advertising. I will be raising money for a charity again. So hopefully,
okay, wicked.
Watch my ultra fat to ultra marathon journey.
Yes, love it. And we'll do the ice baths together for our accountability. We're going to regret that, you know that, don't you?
Yeah, I can't wait, because I'll actually have to do it then.
Yeah.
I need to get me some Speedos.
Yeah. Right. Thank you very much for coming on. Everyone follow the Two Cops podcast.
Yeah.
Thanks,
for
Carl.
having me on. Cheers, Carl.
Thanks, Carl. This episode was sponsored by DNA Boxing School of Excellence and Southport Building and Property Services. If you have a topic that you want to discuss, get in touch at b31spinjustice@gmail.com or via Instagram @spinjustice.